So, India's got this massive new project in the works, one of its most ambitious yet. It's a state-of-the-art port called Vadvan. But here's the twist. It's not being built on the coast. It's being built on a man-made island out in the sea. And that, of course, raises a really fascinating question. I mean, really, why would you go through all that trouble and expense to build an island from scratch when it looks like there's perfectly good empty coastline right there? It just doesn't seem to make any sense, right? But as we're about to find out, the answer is this incredible story of economics, the environment, and some seriously clever engineering.
To get why Vadwan has to be this island, we first have to understand the immense pressure cooker that is India's west coast. The whole country is facing a huge logistical problem.
Okay, so here's the deal. India's economy is absolutely surging. Imports and exports are just booming, and the country's ports, the main arteries for all this trade, are getting seriously clogged up. I mean, you can literally picture it. Container ships just stuck in a line at sea, waiting for a spot to dock. The system is just totally overwhelmed. And this chart, it really shows you what's happening on the ground. The two big workhorses of the West Coast, JNPT and Mundra Port, they're already running at nearly 100% capacity. There's just no more slack in the system. They're maxed out. And here's where you really see the scale of the problem. That gap between what India's ports can handle right now and what they're going to need to handle, it's getting wider and wider, and fast. Without a new megaport, the country's economic engine could seriously start to sputter. Which, of course, brings us to the big solution, Vadvan Port. And let me tell you, this isn't just another port. This is a project on a scale that India has literally never attempted before. So what is this thing exactly? Well, it's a greenfield project, which means they're building it from the ground up on what is currently just open sea. And here's the kicker. It has what's called a natural deep draft. That just means the water there is naturally super deep, deep enough for the absolute biggest ships on the planet to pull right up. That is a huge advantage. No need for constant, expensive dredging. It saves a fortune. Okay, get ready for this price tag. It's staggering. We're talking 76,200 crore rupees. That's over 9 billion US dollars. That kind of money tells you everything you need to know about how critical this project is for India's future. All right, so what's the payoff for all that cash? Well, when it's done, Vadvan will be able to handle 23 million TEUs every single year. A TEU, by the way, is just the standard size for a shipping container. Now, to put that number in perspective, that is more than the two biggest ports in India, JNPT and Mundra, can handle together right now. You see, this is way bigger than just fixing a local traffic jam for ships. This project literally catapults India into the big leagues of global shipping. It means when the world is looking for places to build and ship from, India will have a front row seat. Okay, so we've established why India desperately needs this new port. But that still doesn't answer our big question from the start, does it? Why in the sea? Well, the answer is buried in decades of frustration and one single brilliant idea. This idea of a port at Vadwan, it's not new at all. It actually goes all the way back to the 90s. But for almost 20 years, the whole thing was completely stalled. Dead in the water, you could say. And it was all because of environmental rules protecting a very fragile area called the Dahanu Eco-Sensitive Zone. And this is where the genius solution comes in. The old plan, the one that kept getting rejected, was to build the port right on the coast. But see, the issue was never really about the port on the land. It was about the path the ships had to take to get there, which would have sliced right through that protected marine life. The new plan? Just move the entire port out into the sea. That way, the shipping lanes completely avoid the sensitive area. And that right there, that's the aha moment. The problem was never the buildings. It was the water. By building this artificial island, they didn't just create a new port. They created a whole new environmentally approved shipping route. It's just an incredible piece of problem solving. All right, so you've figured out the environmental puzzle and you built this giant port out in the sea. Awesome. But now you've got a whole new problem. How on earth do you get all those millions of containers from that island to the rest of India? Well, the answer is you don't just build a port. You build an entire ecosystem of infrastructure to support it. We're talking a brand new 32-kilometer, 8-lane expressway, a huge 104-kilometer road linking to another super expressway, a dedicated rail line that plugs right into the main freight corridor, and they're even planning a new international airport nearby. This is a total overhaul of the region's logistics. So let me walk you through how this is all supposed to work. First, the massive ships dock at the island terminal. Then, the containers are moved over to the mainland on these huge dedicated bridges for both road and rail. And from there, boom, the cargo is dispatched all across India on this brand new super-fast network. But the impact here is so much bigger than just moving containers around. This isn't just about logistics. This is really about building a future and totally transforming an entire region. We're talking about over 200,000 new jobs, both directly working at the port and in all the businesses that will pop up to support it. That is a massive, massive economic engine for this whole area. And this is where it gets really personal, right? This is the human impact. For the folks living in the Palghar region, this is an absolute game changer. It means an end to these brutal 5 to 6 hour daily commutes just to get to a good job in Mumbai. It means opportunity is finally coming right to their doorstep. See, this port isn't just being dropped in the middle of nowhere. It's really the anchor for a much, much bigger vision. This whole collection of mega projects is seen as the foundation for a brand new city, a place people are already starting to call Mumbai 4. This whole project is just a perfect example of how solving one huge problem, in this case a port bottleneck, can unlock the potential to build something entirely new, something even bigger. So it really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? As this port rises from the sea, what kind of city will rise up on the land right beside it?